Well, good morning. We are here in New Hampshire, starting off the Presidential Traverse. I'm not sure how well you can see much. It is, of course, as has become standard for these things, still dark. It's about 4 a.m. See the moon? Looks cool. So we're starting off at the Appalachian Trailhead. That is going to lead up to Mount Madison, which is somewhere up there, about 4 miles. Let's see what the sign's telling us. Try this trail only if you are in top physical condition, well clothed, carrying extra clothing, food. Many have died above the timberline from exposure. So, I guess the sign says it all for me this morning. Well, good morning. This is actually my second video of the morning. Don't know how well the first one came out because it was dark. Plus I rambled a lot. So now that the sun's up, I'm going to give you kind of the quick rundown. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what I see. We are starting off our Presidential Range Traverse in one day. We started at, hit the trailhead around 4 a.m. Started in the dark. Did the first hour or so in the dark. Sun's just coming up now. We're about an hour in. Probably coming up on 2 miles in. A little over 1,000 feet of climbing already. So, Presidential Range Traverse, considered by many one of the 10 hardest hikes in America. Also considered by many one of the most dangerous. Probably in for about 20 miles, maybe a shade under today, 19, something like that. But probably a good 9,000 feet of climbing at least. The goal is to summit 7 mountains. They're all named after presidents, which is why it has its name. First one up is Mount Madison. It is my biggest challenge of the day, not because it's the tallest, not because it has the roughest terrain, but I'm starting out at the valley. So to kind of get up to altitude here, I have to do a lot of climbing. So my first 4 miles today to the summit of Madison, I'm going to do about 4,000 feet of climbing, of which I'm not even halfway through yet. So that is a big challenge. The one positive about trying to do this is that it's very front loaded. So by the time I summit Madison, I will have done about 1/3 of my effort for the day. As far as if you look at distance and climbing, a good 1/3 of it is just getting up Madison. Another good chunk of it is the next 3 mountains, Adams, Jefferson, and the most famous and infamous of all, Washington. And after that, it gets quite a bit easier. The last 3 are much easier than the first 4. So it feels very much like a battle to get to Washington in decent shape, with good amount of sunlight, which is why we started in the dark. We'd rather climb in the dark than descend in the dark. So we gave ourselves an extra hour plus by not waiting for sunup. If we can do that, we're gonna do it. And we're gonna do it. Super determined today. Hell or high water, Presidential Range Traverse. Come along for the ride. Still making my way up Madison, but we're very close to the first major waypoint, which is the Madison Hut. Let's pop this on just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what I'm in for here. It has been nothing but climbing. I haven't looked at my stats recently, but I'm guessing over 3.5 miles in, probably about 3,000 feet of climbing already. Again, I haven't looked at my time either, but I feel like I'm probably doing pretty fine. Well ahead of the minimum pace, which would be summit by 8 a.m. I think I'm going to be closer to 7 a.m., which is nice. But you can see it is hard. Don't know if you can see through the trees, but up there is the summit of Madison. So even though I've done a lot, I could see it. It's a long way up there. I definitely think I got another 1,000 feet. Easy to get up there, but trees are getting really small as we are entering the alpine zone here, and we should be there's a scramble, losing the trees entirely here very soon. Tough going. All right, if you want to see what it's like on the final push up Madison, this is what it's like. Look out where we've been, where we're going. We still got to get up the first one. I'm sure you can hear the wind is howling. White Mountains, known for their wind. And here we are, if you can hear me, the windy summit of Mount Madison. Looking around, there's Mount Adams, which is next, Jefferson in between, and then Washington moving down the line. But first one down, we started all the way down there. I'm guessing it's around 7:15, so I'm doing great on my pace. Foot cramps a little bit coming up Madison, but I think I've got a control over it, at least for now. Gonna get down here, gonna stop at Madison Hut for a short break, have a little food, give my legs a rest, because you can see Adams is really tough. It's steep. It's not far from here, but it's very steep, very rocky. It's kind of the sneaky mountain on this trip that everyone kind of sleeps on, and Adams is absolutely really tough. So for now, I'm gonna get off Madison because it is very windy and cold, even though it's very late June here, and get to the hut. Here's the awesome Madison Spring Hut. The base of, not really the base, but kind of the notch below Madison. This is awesome because I can refill water here. We took a short break. Had some, a little bit of food, banana. Hopefully the sodium's gonna help me out. So I'm fighting cramping a little bit. We're not gonna stay here much longer. We hit here in under 4 hours, so up to Madison and down in under 4. Time for Adams. Final push to the top of Mount Adams. You can see it is basically just a big pile of loose rocks. It's not pleasant. I actually feel okay. The problem is my legs badly want to cramp up. And I've been fighting it now for pretty much all morning. Eating lots of bananas, sucking down sports drinks. One of these kind hikers gave me some electrolyte tablets. And I'm having to hike really slow and take really slow steps so as to not risk really straining something and my legs locking up. And I'm having to take frequent breaks too, just to get them to calm down, which is terrible because I feel really good. I have more than enough energy to do this, feeling all right, but my legs, really hoping they cooperate here and get a little bit better. For now, we'll get to the top of the summit. I'll be looking forward to a little bit of down for a bit. Next up is Jefferson, there it is, and Washington. Gonna keep going. So we summited Adams. I did not stick around there long. There were a lot of people up there. Plus it was so windy you wouldn't have been able to hear me anyway. I shot a little bit of video real quick just to show I was up there. Then we descended and we are now on the long trail to Jefferson. There's Jefferson, there's Washington. So we are 2 down, 5 to go. One of the friendly hikers that passed me earlier, and we kind of passed each other back and forth, gave me some electrolyte chews, and I chewed down a whole bunch of those, and my legs are feeling much better. So hopefully that's a thing of the past. I'll have to keep monitoring it today, but as my phone goes off in the worst time possible, we'll keep monitoring that today. Guess I have service suddenly. It's the first time. But we're 2 down. We've done over 5,000 feet of climbing already. I'm not sure of the mileage. I'm going to guess 5 and change, 5.5. Sounds about right. I know we just passed a sign not too long ago. Me, and you. That was 5 miles to Washington. This is a long stretch here between Adams and Jefferson. You can see it's super rocky, but it's whatever passes for flat in the White Mountains, on this trail anyway. This is the flattest thing I've seen. So my legs are appreciating that. I'm going to go a little longer here, and then I think I'm going to stop and do a little food break before attacking Jefferson. Yeah, I don't know. To another, probably, I'm guessing 2 miles to the top of Jefferson from where I'm standing would be my guess. Look at this. It is nothing but a boulder field. My knees are going to be killing me after this. All right, so while I'm on the long trek to Jefferson, trying not to kill myself in these rocks, figure I'll talk a little bit about why the Presidential Range Traverse is considered one of the hardest hikes in America and one of the most dangerous. So the difficulty for sure is part of it's the distance. It'll be close to 20 miles, which is a long hike. More than that, it's the vertical. I don't know what I'm going to end up about, but 10,000 feet of climbing is a lot of climbing in a day. And as you can see, it's the terrain, which is giving me like a mix of high peaks Adirondacks and when I summited Mount St. Helens, not a volcanic rock, but just constant rocks, constant boulders, constant obstacles like the high peaks. The danger is the weather. So it's considered to have the worst weather on Earth, or one of the worst weather on Earth. It's highly variable, highly unpredictable. and it can be deadly. So even today, I picked a day where I thought conditions would be as good as they can be. I've had to change 4 or 5 times with the weather shifts. You've already seen and heard there's 50-mile-per-hour winds today at times, and then I walk 100 yards and here I am in a beautiful alpine pineland here, and I had to take my sweatshirt off because it's hot. So I'm constantly regulating the temperature and the conditions, which seem to change sometimes every 100 feet, which is really wild. And you read about it, but to actually experience it, it is true that how quickly the conditions change here is really, really nuts. I'm probably in the nicest weather moment I've had all day right now, which is why I'm able to talk to you, because it's not howling wind. And I'm down into a t-shirt because it's warm up here. But I've had other times where I'm in fleece and other things and other stuff trying to deal with the wind. And it's really, really just so variable. So yeah, that's why very, very difficult, very dangerous. All right, let's see if I can get the peak of Jefferson behind me. I did make it up there. As is tradition, it was loaded with people and super windy, so I didn't stop to film any video there because you again wouldn't be able to hear me. I did snap some photos. We are now descending Jefferson. Right across is Washington. It is a ways. Unfortunately, as soon as I started climbing up Jefferson, my leg cramping issues returned immediately, like 10 paces up. So I'm really at this point stuck, really managing it. It has completely sapped all of my power, all of my speed. Is completely gone. I'm basically shuffling up climbs because if I lift my feet more than like 2-3 inches off the ground, it starts to strain my leg muscles. So I'm basically shuffling my way up these mountains and using my poles then to also kind of lift and pull myself up. And it is really frustrating because I feel really good. I'm tired, but not more so than you would expect. Everything's really kind of clicking except these leg cramp issues, and it's really, really disappointing because it's so much to manage. 3 down, Jefferson's down. 4 to go. 1 big one though. There's only 1 big one left, and that's the next one. It is Washington. After that, this hike gets infinitely easier. Not easy, but so much easier. But Washington is a slog. You can see it is not close by. I'm guessing 2 miles at least to get there, plus a lot of climbing. It's gonna take forever. Actually, my time's not awful considering the conditions I'm in with my legs. It's still before noon, so I've managed to kind of keep myself going. I'm shuffling along, and I'm taking frequent 2-minute breaks when I feel my legs really starting to act up to kind of calm my muscles down. I'm really hoping the top of Washington, I think it has a little cafe. I'm really hoping they have some stuff that'll really help me out, and I'll happily take a half-hour break up there. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get up Washington now, just the way I'm having a walk. Definitely a possibility I'll be coming out of the woods in the dark. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how bad it is. I think Jefferson took me forever, and Washington's tougher than Jefferson. So, but we are not quitting. We are still standing. I am super determined. I might be setting a record for the slowest, longest presidential range traverse day ever done, but I don't care. As long as my wheels don't completely come off here, we're gonna keep going. And basically, if I can get myself to the top of Washington with my legs intact, we got this. So here we go. Long path to Washington. Taking a quick minute break here on our way up Washington. So here's where we've been. So Madison, Adams, Jefferson, up there, Washington. I've really perfected my shuffle along method here. It's definitely helping. So I'm certainly not going fast, but I am able to brake a lot less. I'm about a mile from Washington now. I'll see you there. I've got this little train that goes up and down the mountains, a special kind of train. I don't remember what. I'll put it below. I gotta say, I really wish I was on that train right now. Well, look, we're almost there. And apparently I have service again. I made it. Peak 4, top of Washington. There's a line to naturally take your picture at the top, so we're not going to wait for that. Not easy getting up here. Legs are barely holding it together. But we got up here. I'm actually taking a walk. It looks like there's a nice overlook here. I haven't looked at my stats. I'm guessing it's around 230, which is, considering my condition, not terrible. Windiest place on earth, do you think? All right, we made it to the Lake Tear of the Cloud. Last hut is right behind me, or right over to my right here. Not a lot of footage coming down Washington. It was slow and miserable. Definitely at that point where my knees are killing me. Every single step is on rocks, every single step. We've got 3 mountains left. The next one is Monroe. So we'll be heading up there next. Considerably smaller than the others, but you can see it's not easy. I'm totally expecting my leg cramping to come back as soon as I start going up it. Back at Mount Washington, I was able to have some food and rest, so I felt a little bit better. Let's see what happens. All right, summited Monroe, which is number 5. Wasn't too terrible. Naturally, my cramping came right back the moment I tried to ascend. But my little shuffle along method here is slow but effective. Some very friendly people gave me some salt tablets to suck on, which is why my voice sounds garbled. I didn't look at the time. It's pretty clear I'm going to be coming back in the dark. I'm guessing it's around 5 o'clock. Maybe a little earlier than that. But I got 2 more to go. I'm guessing I got about 6 miles left. So even though I've got 2 mountains, there's not a lot of climbing. They're much shorter than the first couple I did today, first 4. I still have some climbing to do. I'm guessing around maybe 1,000 feet, maybe less. Less would be great. My cramping is definitely hurting me most on anything time I need to climb. Descending's not great either. Flats I feel great, except you're never on flat ground for more than like 5 paces. I think I've had about 200 feet of flat ground this whole trip. I have not said enough about how beautiful it is. I've spent more time complaining about my legs than how absolutely beautiful it is up here. So let me take a quick minute to give you a little bit of a panorama here. It is just gorgeous. Without a doubt, one of the most beautiful hikes, impressive hikes I've been on. It's really what separates this for the Great Range Traverse, which I've done, is that because you're above, you're on not only summiting mountains, but you're in the alpine zone and above the tree line almost the entire time. You have nothing but these beautiful views the entire time. And you're not just socked in with trees and other stuff. Just absolutely beautiful. Here I am on top of Mount Franklin, which is actually not one of the presidential traverse mountains, but it's the first one I've been alone on. It's more of like a secondary summit. I think of Monroe or Eisenhower or whatever. I picked it up anyway. It was a short walk to get up here right off the trail. So 5.5-ish. And here's what it's like a little bit up the climb to Eisenhower, which is number 6, and is definitely a bigger climb than I was really hoping for. It's not quite like the Big 4, but it's definitely more than Monroe. It was going to take a minute. You can see though the mountains are getting smaller because we're way more in the trees. Lots more bugs too. And it's pretty tight in here. I can't see the summit anymore, but I'm nowhere close. Should be, I'm guessing, another half hour. All right. Summit of Eisenhower. Over there is Washington and Monroe and all that. Somewhere down over there is where we started. I don't think you can even see any of those yet. So we are now 6 down, 1 to go. And I believe that's the one right there, Pierce, which is the easiest one of all. It's a little past 6 o'clock. Considering where today's been, it's not terrible. We'll be finishing in the dark, but I think it won't be a lot in the dark. But let's keep moving. All right, everyone, here we go. Summit 7, the top of Mount Pierce. It was the easiest one. I'm just wiped out at this point. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can find a place to sit for a second. Well over 8,000 feet of climbing. I have to see if I hit 9. Not a moment too soon. I am wiped. Man, to get all 7 of these, I've been fighting since 3/4 of the way up the first one with my legs. And now look, it's all behind me. Of course, my hike's not over. I gotta get down to the road and out of here. But all the climbing's over. It is a bit of a long way down. I think it's gonna be 2.5 miles, and I've got to lose like several thousand feet of elevation. And I'm sure it's all covered in rocks because everything else is. But yeah, 7 summits. Now just got to get to the bottom and officially get my Prezi done. Hey everyone, look what's behind me. My hotel. I made it. Oh my God, I made it. Let me grab some stats for you. 8,200 feet of climbing, just under 20 miles. Whole thing took me a hair under 17 hours. Just outrageously difficult. But oh my God, I'm trying to find a chair because I'm ready to collapse. I did finish my Prezi. Without a doubt, my best or greatest hiking accomplishment. It was so hard. And with my legs, I'm almost afraid to stop moving. So I don't know what's going to happen once they do. There's a chair here. Absolutely incredible. Never doing that again. But awe-inspiring, amazing. Really great people along the way too. But oh my God, I can't believe I did it. I'm kind of in disbelief. Especially how much I had to like fight and claw for it. But yeah, Presidential Range Traverse, done.